never thought this day would come. All these years, I've carried it. The memory, the shame. I was the girl who laughed, the one who mocked her. And now, she's sitting across from me, the woman the world celebrates. Her name echoes everywhere, while mine trembles with regret. I see her eyes, and all I can feel is the weight of who I used to be. Oh God, what have I done?
The African sun hung heavy over the dusty streets of Udoka village, its golden rays stretching across roofs of rusted zinc and walls stained with age and rain. The air carried the scent of roasted corn, red dust, and distant laughter, the pulse of everyday life. It was in this place of red earth and relentless spirit that two girls walked very different paths. Adesuwa was the village jewel, radiant, adored, and untouchable. Her father, Chief Adeyemi, owned the largest palm plantation in the region, and his wealth spilled into every corner of their lives. Each afternoon, she returned from school with her polished shoes barely kissing the ground, surrounded by a chorus of admiring friends. Her laughter rang like silver bells, and her neatly pressed uniform shimmered like pride itself. And each afternoon, she passed the girl on the corner. Ngozi's world had shrunk to the small space beneath the withered mango tree, beside an upturned crate and a tray filled with sun-bright oranges. Her life was not one of choice, but of survival. The story of her past had become the villagers' whispered sorrow. Her late parents, Chike and Neka, had been teachers, beacons of wisdom who gave their students both learning and love. Her father, the village's only math teacher, believed numbers could explain the beauty of life. Her mother, the English teacher, believed words could heal it. Their tiny home had been alive with music, laughter, and the aroma of groundnut stew. Then came the day of the bus accident on the muddy road to Port Harcourt, a day that tore the soul of the village in two. It was said that even the skies wept that morning. When the bus was found twisted like a dying beast beside the riverbank, the people of Udoka knew the world had changed. 10-year-old Ngozi became an orphan in one afternoon. She was sent to live with her aunt Nkem, a widow whose heart had long been calloused by bitterness. Aunt Nkem did not believe in dreams, only in duty. "The world doesn't care for your tears, child," she often said, her voice as dry as cracked clay. "You have your hands and that orange tree your father planted. Use them, or hunger will teach you harder lessons." And so Ngozi did. That orange tree behind her old home became her lifeline, the last remnant of her father's hope. Every morning, she would stand beneath its branches, whispering silent prayers as she picked its fruit. Each orange she sold became an offering, a promise to her parents that their dreams would not die with them. Her hands would polish each fruit until it gleamed like a small sun. She sold not for pleasure, but for purpose, to buy school books, pens, and shoes held together with threads of determination. She was not just a girl with a tray of fruit. She was the guardian of a legacy. Then came that afternoon, the one that would change everything. The heat was cruel that day, burning through the red earth like vengeance. Adesuwa and her friends, their laughter sweetened by cold bottles of Fanta, strolled down the road in the glow of their privilege. Their eyes caught sight of Ngozi, thin, sweat-streaked, Her uniform faded from too many washings, her eyes quiet but proud. Ngozi's voice was soft but clear as she called, "Oranges! Sweet oranges! Look at her," one friend whispered with mockery curling in her tone. "She's been wearing that same uniform since primary 4. I'd rather die than be seen like that," Adesuwa, wanting to impress her friends, laughed a little too loudly, then hesitated for a moment, a small flicker of conscience. But the pressure to perform, to remain the queen bee, drowned it out. Pride won. She walked closer, the coins in her pocket jingling like tiny instruments of cruelty. She bought an orange, not out of pity, but for a performance. She picked one orange. "Here," she said, smiling in a way that wasn't kindness at all, dropping the coins into Ngozi's hand. "You probably need this more than I do. I hope my small change can help you buy some soap." Then, turning to her friends, she added with a loud laugh, "I suppose when you have nothing, you get used to having no shame." The laughter that followed was a dagger wrapped in sugar. Ngozi stood still, her hands trembling slightly, her vision blurred, not from tears, but from the sting of humiliation that settled like ash in her chest. She looked at the orange in Adesuwa's hand, and in that instant saw her mother's tired smile, her father's proud eyes, and something in her heart hardened. She whispered silently, "I will remember this, and one day the world will remember me."
20 years is enough time for the river to change its course, for pride to crumble, and for seeds buried in pain to break open into triumph. Adesuwa's once golden life had dimmed. Her father's fortune had scattered like chaff in the wind, lost to poor business deals and greed. When the money disappeared, so did the friends, leaving behind silence and unpaid bills. The same laughter that once crowned her now mocked her from the shadows of memory. Yet Adesuwa was not one to surrender easily. She found her voice again, not as the pampered daughter of a chief, but as a radio host, Ada the Voice, known for her eloquence and empathy. She had built herself from the ashes of her past, though deep within, guilt still whispered Ngozi's name. Then one afternoon, her producer, Bimpe, burst into her office. "Ada, you won't believe this. We got her. Dr. Ngozi Okeke, the tech queen of Silicon Valley. She's launching her new Orange Seed initiative right here in Lagos. And she specifically requested you for the interview." The air froze around Adesuwa. "Ngozi Okeke," she whispered. "Yes, her story's viral everywhere. Orphaned, sold oranges to pay for school. Now she's a billionaire changing African agriculture with technology. She's an icon." Adesuwa's knees felt weak. The name rang like a ghost at her door. Ngozi, the girl with the oranges. When Ngozi walked into the studio, the air itself seemed to stand still. She was no longer the dusty child under the mango tree. She moved with a regal calm, her Ankara gown blowing with gold accents that danced with every step. Her braids were woven like a crown, and her smile carried both grace and gravity. But it was her eyes, deep, steady, knowing, that made Adesuwa tremble. The interview began. "Dr. Okeke," Adesuwa said, her famous confidence faltering. "Your orange seed foundation. The name is beautiful. Can you tell us about its origin?" Ngozi's smile deepened. She leaned forward, her gaze piercing the distance between past and present. "It comes from the deepest root of my story," she began. "When I lost my parents, I lost the sun and the moon. My mother loved words. My father loved numbers. Together, they planted dreams. And the day I was born, my father planted an orange tree and said, 'Ngozi, you may never have gold, but you will have roots and light.'" Adesuwa's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "Selling those oranges," Ngozi continued, her voice steady and melodic, "was not a job. It was my inheritance. Each orange was a lesson. Each coin a small step toward my destiny. But I remember the pain too. The dust, the mockery, the way people's eyes could cut deeper than hunger."
"One day," she said softly, "a girl came to my stand. She was beautiful, confident, surrounded by laughter. She bought an orange and gave me money. But what she gave me that day was more powerful than she knew. Her words burned through me. I suppose when you have nothing, you get used to having no shame," she said. That moment became my turning point, my crucifixion, and my resurrection. The studio fell silent. Even the machines seemed to stop humming. Adesuwa's body trembled, and before she could stop herself, a sob escaped. Tears spilled freely, erasing her composure. Ngozi's eyes softened. "That humiliation," she said, "was the seed of my strength. I took every drop of shame, every harsh laugh, and planted them deep. And from that pain grew the tree of my purpose. I built orange seeds so that no child in Africa would ever have to choose between hunger and education again." The interview ended. The on-air light dimmed. Silence lingered like incense. Adesuwa wept openly now. "Ngozi," she said through sobs, "it was me. I was that girl. I have carried that day like a curse. I'm sorry, more than words can ever hold." Ngozi rose and placed a steady hand on her shoulder. Her touch was warm, grounding, forgiving. "I knew," Ngozi said quietly, "from the moment they mentioned your name. But Adesuwa, I do not carry that memory as a scar. I wear it as a crown. You helped shape me. Your cruelty watered the soil of my destiny. We were both seeds. You had to lose your pride to find your purpose. I had to lose everything to find my power." Their eyes met. Two women, once divided by privilege, now united by transformation. Ngozi smiled. "Look at us now. Both born of the same sun, both touched by the same soil. Life is not about where you start, Adesuwa, but about what you choose to grow from. Adesuwa looked at Ngozi, truly looked at her, and saw not the poor orange seller, but a queen risen from the very soil of their shared past. It was a lesson in patience, in transformation, and in the incredible, unyielding power of a single seed to change the world. And in that small studio in Lagos, forgiveness took root, strong, radiant, eternal. The moral of the story: never despise humble beginnings or those who seem beneath you. The hands you mock today may hold the key to tomorrow's miracles. Every seed, no matter how bitter its planting, carries the power to bloom into majesty. From mockery can rise greatness, if the heart remains rooted in purpose. This is where the story ends, but the lesson never ends. If you love cautionary folk tales with timeless lessons, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.